Nekudas Segaret in the Maimon is that there's three, Bevan Klodi, three dargis. The Ur Shalifnet system. There's the Ur Akol about Smusei Mamish. That's the Ur which is the Bechina of Yochelis. It's not a Metzias of Ur. Metzias of Ur means that you're dealing with a Metzias of Ispashtos, in of Gili, with the Gdorim of Gili. Gili means that it's Murgish, and that it's Meir in Welt, there's a certain Yachas de Welt. Mashe Inkin, the Ur, the way it is, he says the Ur Akol B'Atzmus Samar Mamish, is the Ur the way it is in Atzmus. That's it's not a Metzias of Ur. That's the fact that B'Yecholti Lahir. It's the fact that B'Yechelis HaAtzmus Lahir. That's another reading. B'Yecholti Lahir. So that's the Ur the way it is in Atzmus Mamish. Atzmus Mamish is higher than any Musik, any Geder. But the Indian of Ur is that the Makir is Bizgal. So what's the idea of Ur? The idea of Ur is that there's a Shleimus in a Makir. Ur is a tchun in a makir, that the makir is not limited to be dafke in a way that he has to be beyond expression, but the makir could also be begili. That's the nkud of Ur, that the makir could also be bizgalis. So this Indian also, you can't say that the Eibishter, since Atzmus is higher than any musagim, so Atzmus does not have the quality of gili. Atzmus cannot, ein b'yecholti lahar, that's Atzmus is avad neise hakel. So the Eibishter is yachal lahar. The idea of Ur that a makar has the capability of being Meir Kameshu, that of course Atzmus has that eifin of being a makar, has that say Maile, has that Indian. And V'meilus Atzmus b'Yecholti L'Har, and that Ur, in order for Atzmus to be an eifin of Ur, to be there should be the Indian of Gilui. There doesn't have to be any, even the way he is ba'atzmai, there's already the Indian of Gilui. That's Ur Akol ba'atzmus Hamar Mamish. And the Pchina V'Yechelis, and then there is the two Pchinas in Ur and the Ispashtos Ur. Says the Ur, the way it is Mitzadatzme. So the Gile is the way it is Mitzadatzme is in and of Ein Sof. Everything that says Pasha V'Talas Apshitis. Since the Ur is Mein Amar, so same with the Moir is Pasha V'Talas Apshitis. Al there is the Ur, which is Mein Amar, is also Pasha V'Talas Apshitis. And with that you have Ein Sof Sphiris. Because the Ur is Pasha V'Talas Apshitis, so there's two ways that Pshitis could be expressed. One, that there's Shlilas Atzir, Shlilas Amtzias. And one Eifen is, you could be Bligvol Metzias, Bligvol Sphiris. Because if there's no definition, if the makar has no definitions, can zayin out from the makar. That's believable spheres. And then mitzad the fact that all the percent there should be enough gvul, mitzad that there's a yichelis for eser spheres. That's what we said. We spoke about last time. That's the let's start Pia now. Pia now yuv mashakosuf ki imcha mekerchaim be'ercha nira. We'll just do the end of the line. Pia now yuv mashakosuf ki imcha mekerchaim be'ercha nira er. Chudam ha'machalik, the two inyanim of yes, in the beginning of the Maimer, see the Shailas. What's the two inyanim of Be'ercha and Nira? And what's the chiluk between Mekerchaim and Ercha? So he explains. The Be'emes calls them a Adar I b'chinas Seir. The Be'er Yesh Beis Madrikis. Why is it between Mekerchaim and because we explained the Maimer earlier. This Be'er Yesh Beis Madrikis. Hainu K'meshu Kol Ba'atzmusei Mamish. The way is in Atzmus, which is Atzmus is higher than Geder Metzias, higher than Geder Ispashtus. And there's the way the Ur is called Ba'atzmusei Mamish. And then there's K'meshu B'chinas Hamshocha, the way the Ur is Natzir already, a Natzir of Gili, in of Ispashtus, of a Yachas Devot, a Yitzir Me'atzmusei Kaviyach. He's Natzir of Ispashtus. And we're dealing with Hachodesh Lifnei Etzim Tzmuchulu. Da sagt Kimcha Mekerchaim. So Kimcha Mekerchaim Hainu B'chinas Ur called Ba'atzmusei. Sure, B'chinas Imcha, these Mamish, Imcha Mamish. Imcha Mamish, there is Mekerchaim. Means you have the Ur, the way it's called Ba'atzmusei Mamish. That is before V'zeu Mashe Shmei Kadmin Klikat Musei. He said before the B'china V'chelis Avad. You can't say that the fact that in order that the fact that the Atzmus B'Yecholti L'Hoyer is not Neschadesh. The Eibishter is a Kadmin, and the Yechelis L'Hoyer is also not a Mechodesh. It's not the Pshat. The Eibishter said Atzma is beyond Gilui. Him, of course, he's beyond Gilui. He's beyond any definition, but he is limited. That he is beyond his galus. In order to be in his galus, Gilui is a Chiddush. The Atzmus is blikvul, and b'meile b'yecholti l'hayr. It's leinis chadash shum davar ba'atzmus. Yeah, zeh mashmi kadmin kadmusei. Oh, that's imcham mashakos be'ercha nira. That's already in of hainu b'chinas hamshacha v'espashas there in sof. The b'chinas zunikir like you said before. V'zeu be'ercha. You said before that called ba'atzmusei is called shmei. It's not called is in of gilei. The shmei we call ba'atzmusei is not a metzias. It's only yichelis. It's not a metzias of Zo be'ercha chol amash. Imcham mekerchaim ends b'chinas b'chinas shmei kol b'chol kanal. Yeah. Zo gam gosh kosav tanad v'eliyot ki imcham mekerchaim kel losit. That's losit will be Meir the darg of mekerchaim. והיינו לא עשי דסגל לבחינה זו, היינו שיהיה אז גילי בחינת הלם העצמי די אינסוף, וזהו בחינת שמי המיוחד ממש, and be the גילי of the עצם ממש. The way the הלם העצמי means will be the סגלוס העצם, כמו שהוא, הלם העצמי. כמו שיסבר, הגילי הוא הדעה התאירה. גילי לא עשי, will be the גילי, הסגלוס העצם, that's הידעה התאירה. The יעשה למחק לי. Means the in of Helam Atzmi, the way he's explaining this matter is the the way it is in the Bechina V'chelis. It's the Yechol Teila and that in is going to be Zgal Asid Lavi, and the Gil is going to be Adei the Yaselim Chakalil, and the Daik and Mili the Chochmas. It means that he explains later in the Hemshech HaMarim that in the in of Lima the Teira, and the in of Bijurim Shuvet Teira, so with them Kut Mitzu to Chachme the way it is in Helam Atzmi Mamish. בשלם זהו מה שאמר ואין עץ חיים על התורה. שהדי זה יהיה הגילית לעשות. היינה די עסק התורה עכשיו, מבחינת הגיע, כמו שהסבר לעיל, and he's going to explain later in the Maimer, learning תורה מצד עצמי is חוכמה. learning תורה in the איפן of יגיע, מדem kunt men zu to the הלם העצמי. the way it is in the dark of יחילס. יכולתי להר. מה שכוסו בערך הנראה, הוא מבחינת שני ברבים ראשון. שזהו, מבחינת המשך, אבל יש פרשת די אינסוף, שהוא מבחינת אינסוף ממש. Yeah, that the air commercial who the spashus air said that's me like I said before is ain't stuff mamish partial balance up shit this air mein amar wel geen hayad am rishn mabet be va yadim sef elen vat sef ze shesh gebodes khuluk madreges hakelo khna sayer sho khna midu gvo befehl elements only that air which is samsung of yade elements avol begile khna sayer sef shlifnat sim some hari leish khuluk madreges klar means that in sadar air there's only of schalkus. It's all the kudus apshitis of the cause. Zeh shayimabit misevel matzev. Bkhina madregezu gam kizgal los. Zeh bkhina saliyah rishene she los. She's gal bkhina sein sof shlifnat simso. The first aliyah. The zeh shagonz the losid love wegen ganze beter. That's the erste never be rish. She gam gilizeh der teil. But then there's going to be later bin kim kham khaim. Let's get the right second zeh bkhina salamat with sof mamish. Shiur is gal los der skater zeh in tschaim al teil. Yes, in the beginning of the whole Hemshech that there's going to be two in Yonah Mashkim in Israel through the Aved of Bisman Hazeh. Kavan of Tzimtzum. One in is that L'chatchila, the Eidon Sof Shei Yimala Makam Acholo, even though it was Meir, Lifnat Tzimtzum, but it was not even that it couldn't be Meir in Welt. And the Uftu of Kavana Sabri is that this Shei Yimala Makam Acholo should be Meir in Welt. That's what he says, the Be'er Chanir Er. The last level, the Bid is Gal Sa Ein Sof. Shnir Be'im Rishon, which is the Ein Sof Elokus, and that's going to be made in Welt through the Aved of through the whole Kavan of the Rebetachleinim. And then there's another Indian he says in the beginning of the first Maimer of the Hemshech that is going to be the Izgalus of the Etzema Er that was never made, even Lifnei Bria, Lifnei Tzimtzum, the Dargus Er which is higher than Gilui, and that's also going to be made through Torah Lasid Lavi. That brings us to Yidam Mir. Here in the Shem Zad B'Chines is the B'Chines Yosher, Shlemer Shazad Yigivah Torah B'Shachal B'Chines Elam Atzmi, Dafka the B'Jurim Torah. We spoke about it earlier, and we speak about it in the Hemshech HaMarim later. Good. This Lemon is another יקריב. Adam יקריב mikem korban lavai mena behemchol. So have mal Adam יקריב. Yeah, what's the bizarre? Why the stam? Why the member stam יקריב? Now Adam יקריב. What's the diuk that he says Adam יקריב? יקריv mikem, based on the Chameret wegen Menschen. Who יקריv mikem? Based on the Chasedet, speaking about people. Sehr Pashis is left above him now. So that coin in Yisrael, look at Shibrichu Korolin Adam. The Chsiv Aten Atzeni Chulu Adam Aten. And then it also says Adam ki Yakriv mikem Korban. My time a Korolin Adam. Why did they call this Adam? Call Bnei Yisrael Adam. Mishun Chsiv Atem Advekim Hashem Lekech. Adam is Misad in Advekas. So effect in the Maimon Yisrael Chavim Mashach in Advekas Lezed. The Mishum Zed definitely Adam. What's the connection? Because Atem Advekim Hashem Lekechem. That's why Korolin Adam. And it's connected to the Korbanos. Shabim came Yisrael, so met the Shab in Vayikra, Dr. Azay, Moshe Melech Sheile Prax, and you had a Malbush Shalev Shnal Abasar. Boy, Mitzaves Adi, Amarle Kiple, Benarde, Visend Daitchel, and take care of this baggage. Amarle Avdi Adina Melech and Kola Prax, and Sheesh Lech Yetem Tzavali Elazeh. Amarle, yeah, this one we have to be most careful with and most sensitive to, Shani Madbike the Gufi. כך אומר משל לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא, בין השאלה, מאין ומה שיש לך יהיה את המצב הישראל, הצב בני ישראל, דבר בני ישראל. אומר לי, שאין דבוקים לי. דאו תכסיב, כי כאשר ידבק ישראל מסניש. ומובן מזה גם כן, מה שנשום ישראל נקרא אדם, השם הדבקס. Tzarich lahavin zeh, ma shayach zeh lekarbanos, lefi shein dvukim bei, bi lechein yochel akriv karban. Because you're an Adam, therefore ki akriv become karban. That's the mashmos. Because Adam, which is made in that vehicle, the fire can be makrivs and a karban. Because gam shachol lo made mid the shav, gam kim pasuk zeh about the vigman nemer b'teir. Yeah, there it doesn't bring this. This in it just brings kashiyid b'ke'ez ramas nish. Doesn't bring what's mefurish. V'atam vigman alvay lekech. V'lam hevi apasuk kashiyid b'ke'ez. Loving it's not like mashins barley. Il she is based madreges be'er insof. It's b'chinas ha'er k'meishu b'chinas hamshacha v'gilu. V'hainu kololus b'chinas ha'er insof. Late b'chinas ha'espashtas b'lvat she'er insof. Kim kololus b'chinas ha'er b'chinas etzem ha'er v'espashtas ha'er. So he says l'chura mefurish. He didn't say the member. You know, always in Chassidus, everybody brings the members Lagani. There's the three dargis. There's etzem ha'er and two dargis in the espashtas ha'er. L'chori means here etzem ha'er espashtas ha'er means etzem ha'er and the espashtas and the two b'chinas of espashtas. And that's all not the air which is called Batzis Hamar Mamish. That's all pchinas in Gilui. There's the in of Gilui. Gilui always there's the etzim in Gilui, and then there's the in Gilui the way it's Meir Lepoil. Like every Indian, there's the Indian the way it is be'etzim, and then there's the way it actualizes itself in Gilui. And then there's that base is pchinas er k'meshu called ba'atzmus hamarsh enim pchinas er klal. That's the chelas atzmus. It's not a mitzias of er. That enim hos la'atzmi. Ki masha atzmus bi keicha v'yicholti l'hoyer. The fact that atzmus bi yicholti l'hoyer. And there's the er k'meshu hu there. K'meshu kolo the way it's ein zach mit them that atzmus bi yicholti l'hoyer. It's not a mitzias of er. It's the way the er is one with the fact that atzmus bi yicholti l'hoyer.
What's the difference between this and the previous one? Which wasn't his pashtus?
The etzem, that's the etzem in Gilui. We're all dealing with the in of Hemshech of Espashus. The mitzias of Gilui, it's in of Er, in of Gilui. Within Gilui itself, you have the Espashus, you have the etzem. The Er called Atzim Hamar Mamish is not a pchin of Gilui. It's not a mitzias of Gilui. It's the whole mitzias of the Er. If the Er there is the fact that the Atzm must be a chol til dealing with Atzm which is higher than Gilui, and Atzm must be a chol til Let's talk about this. What's the pshat er? If it's atzmas chassid, atzmas is a chelis. What to do with er? But the chelis, there's the er the way it is, kolul, in the fact that atzmas be a chol til Because when you speak in the regular case in a mashal, you say that something is be a chol til So the pshat is be a chol he should, from him there could be nimshach on er, no, but it has to be nimshach. Means you have the ability that there should be er from the market. It doesn't have, nothing has to happen. The fact that Atzmas be choti lahoyer, he's not in a certain mode that he has the ability to also be in a different mode. To begin with, he's be'emes unlimited. We have no tzir in such a. So that you have the the way it is, the way it's one thing with the fact that Atzmas be choti lahoyer. The fact that Atzmas be a choti laher, so he has to, in order for er to happen mitzad Atzmas, he's gonna have to invent an idea of a gilui. Mitzad Atzmas is an eifin of etzem, and he has the ability to also be an eifin of gilui. Are we gonna say that? Or are we gonna say that Atzmas be a choti laher? Atzmas is not limited at all. So lachatchila there's er. Mitzad the fact that he's yachol laher mitzad Atzmas. So there's the way it's not a gather of gilui. It's Atzmas is yechelis laher. And there's the way it's a prat in the atzmas zechelis. Means before amaret and etzem. The pchin of they're speaking about is the which is nyani is gilu. He's already in the metzias of gilu. You have the fact that that the yechelis ha'atzmas laher. So he's saying yechelis is l'chora. It's higher than gilu. That's the fact that the etzem is yachal laher. There's the way it's in the yechelis. Because mitzad the atzmas yechelis lahar, he's taki yachal lahar. Yeah, so there's in most la'atzmi k'masha atzmas b'keicha b'chol lahar. So this is Dr. Rabbi Shmuel Seid Nazi. I said last time. So the pashas we brought in the memory before. He spoke two dargis in this pashas here. There's the way it's mitzad atzmi. The mitzad atzmi is pashas b'dalas abshittis. Mitzad that there's no shaykh in of esrei spheres of gvul. There's Ein Sof Spheres. Then he says, mitzad, the fact that all the saying there should be a veld, so mitzad the Oliver saying there's a gather of gvul, and once there's a gather of gvul, now, and he's talking about this yochel har gvul, because the air is pashav talas abshittis. So, before this Alei Saratzen, so mitzad amitis in Ein Sof, mitzad the true musig of Pshittis, the whole gather of Spheres are not a mitzvahs. The whole gather of Gvul is not a mitzvah. But once all the words saying that there should be in of Gvul, so Gvul is an Inyan, besides the fact that all the words saying there should be a Veld, and the air is Pashmat also Pshittis. So the air is not mugda that he can't be Meir in a way of Spheres. But the Pashas we understood it before is that the fact that all the words saying is a certain Yerida. I said this at the end of last. The Pashas say all the in of Spheres is a Yerida legabe the air the way it is before Alei Saratz. You see in Pashas, I was thinking yesterday the marshal of is right away here. Okay, maybe I'll mention this. Just he's going to say a word about this here, but you say when you get to Ratz in the marshal, you say that the Rebbe brings the memory of Kemetzes Chid Beis, these Mishalim. On one hand, you say that in Vaz Bashteit, to take what expresses the take of Haratzin, that in the Chodar Reim Nifnei Haratzin, when a person wants something, the fact that Api Seichel doesn't make sense to want it. The fact that Api Midis it's not correct to want it. The take of Haratzin is that nothing is going to be machlish to take of Haratzin, even though nothing has any consideration in the presence of Haratzin. The fact that Api Seichel is klept nicht. Mitzad the Haratzin is from a deeper place in the Nefesh, where there the Keich HaSeichel and Midis have not tfisas makim. So mitzad the take of Haratzin, Seichel and Midis lose their chshivas. So the person is not mischashiv at Seichel and Midis. That's one eifan yadik. In the Chadav in the Fnei Haratzin, that if a person wants something, the fact that Api Seichel and Api Midis doesn't make sense, it's not going to be magbul, it's not going to be machlish at all. That's one way. The not being that the Seichel Midis lose their chshivas. There's another eifan that is brought out. The take of Haratzin is when a person wants something. The teva advarim is you say Asheicha Diaver is the last expression. Asheicha Diaver Hinei Chachamim. When a person has an atiyas and nefesh towards something, so even though a seichel masadatzme wouldn't have but nicht verstanden as it. A seichel masadatzme wouldn't have gone and tried to understood kach v'kach. But a person has an atiyas and nefesh there. So when you have a ratzin towards something, it's payal that your seichel should find justifications for the ratzin. So it's also the mitzad the take of Haratzin. The take of Haratzin that it's not a measured kayach. So the one is since it's not measured, so it's not so seichel mitzvahs have not tfisas makim. Gvul is bottle legabe the Ratzin because the Ratzin is not a measured limited kayach. So seichel mitzvahs which are limited are bottle legabe the Ratzin. No, since it's not a measured kayach, so it affects that everything should be like the Ratzin. That the seichel mitzvahs they should all find its status for the Ratzin. That's two different ways of expressing the take of Haratzin. One that it's because the Ratzin is not mugvul, so everything is bottled legabe the Ratzin. Or another ifin is because the take of Haratzin, so all the keiches work according to be matzdik the Ratzin. Even though the seichel mitzadatzim or the midas mitzadatzim wouldn't have been mechayiv that inyan. Because the Ratzin, say the Ratzin, what does it do with seichel? But the Ratzin has a certain take of that when a person wants something, it's not in a measured. His meshichet, his connection is not in a measured way. The meile, the seichel goes out of its gedara and tries to find the svaris by the Ratzin. So say what's a higher expression of the Ratzin? So the Pashas Dvarim is the first eifin brings out in a way deeper the unlimitedness. It brings out the Ratzin b'chal it's not negea whether the seichel is maskim with the Ratzin or not. It's not the fact that the Ratzin is from a deeper place in the nefesh. Where the nefesh is higher than the agbalus of seichel amidas, and the melee is not tevis makam in seichel amidas. Even if api seichel there's kashas on the ratzin, but it's not machlishim because the ratzin is from a deeper place in the nefesh. Where there seichel amidas are not tevis makam at all. Now, taking to the second eifin, the fact that there's a need that the seichel should also legitimize the ratzin, that means that seichel is a mitzvah, seichel is tevis makam. So I take it for ratzin, so he's payal that even though the seichel is mitzadatzin would have understood otherwise. But it's point that the seichel should also be maskim as far as the fear does. But the idea that the Ratzin has the seichel has not to be smakam at all, that's Meir more in the first eifin of Ratzin. So and that's the Pashas Dvarim. The question is, when is there a need? When is it someone that by him seichel midas have it tfisas makim? So by him the take of Ratzin is going to be expressed in the fact that it's uncomfortable to have a ratzin which seichel has tiristit. So it's by him the take of ratzin is going to be expressed in the fact that he's going to find svaris and his midas, his whole system is going to go and be nigrar. It's going to be drawn to the way he wants. So there's here also. Where is it brought out more the bleak vol and the pshitas of there, the head of there, and the fact that there's no spheres, there's no agbala, there's no gvul. Gvul is we're dealing with holocaust. Inside the mein amar, the moir is pshitas. So the air is pashat, and where is it expressed in the ultimate way, the pshitas of holocaust, that there's no tfisas makim to seichel midas. There's no metzias of nevram. The nevram are bottle. Once there's a mitzad Olibert saying there's a gather of a veld, and mitzad the fact mitzad Olibert saying there's a metzias of a veld. So in was brings charis the pshitas ha'er, that he's able to be mayor in a way that even that seichel can understand, and the midas can understand. That's all mitzad the pshitas of the air. Mitzad the fact that the air is unlimited, it's part of the pshitas. He can be mayor in Elamis too. But where is it going to be brought out more the head rakbol of there? In the fact that mitzad the air, there's the chatchilon mitzvahs of Elamis. So the part the Oliver saying it to be mayor and mitzad him is the yechelis versus firis is a lower dargah. Without Oliver saying, even saying mitzad pshitas itself, so there's mayor blik vol. Mitzad the fact that Oliver saying is there is an union of gvul. Mitzad the kavan of briyas Elamis is an union of gvul. So now mitzad the blik vol of the air, it's misbat in another way. That he's mayor that is able to be mayor in the mitzvahs of alt, but it's a lower dargah. We'll see later that the fact that the air is biyacholti lahayir b'esas firis is not a lower dargah. That shows in a deeper in there. Obviously, yeah. But da hebt on sagen. So was sich aufgetan in the end of the last Maimer, the whole arichs of Maimer of Kiyimcha, is that there is that the pchina of air. Where does it begin? The idea of this is the main point. You have to know the difference between air and the mashal and air and the nimshal. In the mashal, you don't have this idea of air the way it is, but atzvas hamer mamish. You don't have to change it. Saying the etzma of the whole idea of air begins with the fact that the makir is a makir for gili. The makir is beyond gili, is taka higher than gili. Let's say you have in the shemesh. The shemesh has different aspects in the shemesh. So mitzad the shemesh itself, let's say that element in the shemesh where the idea of being mayor is not a mitzvah. So mitzad that element taka, he's not a makir for air either. That darga the shemesh is mugbal, and he's taka not shaykhs to gili. The idea of air begins that the makir is a razam is sard zach, which is a makir for gili. Since the makir, legabi the makir, gili is an Indian. The makir is being mizgal is a ma'idul legabi the makir. So from that point, like every time you have a makir and a davar abam and a makir. So how does it work out? Where does the teitzam and a makir begin within the makir? Where the alien is a makir for the tachtim. That element of the alien where the legabi, which legabi that darga, there's an Indian in the teitzah. So mitzvah that's where the aschol of the davar abam and a makir is. Say the shemesh. That element in the shemesh where being mizgale, being mayor, is an Indian, is a shlemos. So that's where he's called a mar. He's a makar for gili. But that element in the shemesh where that Indian, the idea, he's beyond the idea of gili. He's higher than gili. Mitzvah that Indian taki is higher than gili. And that Indian is not mizgale, is not shaykhs to gili. Every time you speak about a makar you speak about there's an etzim or there's an alien, which is a makar for a tachtim. A makar means that the element in the makar where he's already a source of something means that Indian that he's a source of has a tfisas makam. He's a makar for it. We're talking about air that we call it atzim samar mamish. See, where's the lashon over here? Atzvus is beyond the whole idea of gila. Being mizgal is not a ma'ila. And there isn't even a concept of what to be mizgal inside the atzvus mamish. There's no pshitis. There's no shemesh. So there's light. You have the light the way it is in the etzim shemesh. You have the light the way it's mispashim. Elukut, there's no specific thing that shaykh to say is the way the Indian is be'etzim, the way it is begilui. The whole atzma is beyond the idea of gilui. But here the chiddush is, but avad atzma is not mugbal that he cannot be begilui. We see lamata, there's a mile of gilui, there's a mile of there's a mile of a makir being able to be nizgal of the erchamela. If lamata we see such a shleimus and a makir of being able to be nizgal, that avad by the Eibishter you have that mile. It's not that he's saying this he could create everything. Here, Gilui is not that he could create air. Gilui is that there's a certain mile in a source, Lamata, that he's able to say, be mizgal the kamaishu. That in Avad exists the mile too. The mile that they share somewhere. And there, the atzvus is biyachoti lahir. Means in order for it to be the inyan ha'er, it's not that the etzem is only from that element of the etzem where he's a shaykhis to gilui. He's mitzumtzim, he's a magafer. Not even. But elukus, the mile of mar, the mile of being bicholti lahar is b'shleimus. That means that the etzem kamei shehu ba'atzmusay is not mukbam b'yicholti lahar. So who's the yicholti lahar? Or where does the musig of gili initiate itself? In atzmus mamish. The yechelis atzmus. So Meli says weiter, b'chlal b'chinas ha'yechelis shabatzmus, agam ki yechelis leipich. We see lamata, let's say, two eifanim in a makir. There's one mile that a makir is mitzah, that you have a certain makir, this is something that says there for the you have certain inyanim. Where do you have this, you say, this mile, or this gula, this tchuna, to be able to be meir and air, that means to be able to be meir b'derech hamela, the din of his gadlus b'derech hamela, that's dafka by a makar that's not mugbal. Anything which is, they say, by the marshal by Rav Talmud, seichel, shefa. So since the seichel do it is by the Rav, it's mugbal, the tzir, which is masim to the Rav. In order for the Talmud to understand, he has to have it tzimtzum. So the musik being that the makar doesn't have to be mitzam to himself in order to be meir. The makar kumeshu is also be gili b'derech hamela. That's the big of the makar. So there's one mile that we see lamata is that a makar is mizgal kumeshu. There's another mile that the makar is not mugdar that he has to be dafke b'gili. The makar could be in a way that his inyanim are nela metech atzme. They don't have to be expressed. They don't have to be open. They don't have to be b'gili. That's also a special mile. You have certain things. I mean, the inyan of helam is not a pashta zach, but so you got helam b'gili. We know of helam. If someone's in a room, so he's not mailim himself. Where he is b'gili, and then there's where he doesn't exist. Helam is that you could be somewhere and it's not going to have any expression at all. Well, have no expression. But the inyan is nisha b'teichatz musay. Doesn't have to be in a way that's you say it's opposite than the tchun of gili. Tchun of gili is that since the inyan is not limited, so b'meila you can't limit it in what way it is. So it's going to be murgish and it's going to be meir. The tachtim will know about it. It's going to be bezgalus betachlis. The din of yechelis shaleilah is fakert. That be yechelis that the etzem should be kameshu be'etzem. And the zulas fakert. He won't be in a way that the zulas is margish, in a way that is murgish. That his inyanim are in him. That's also a ma'ila. See fakert, and the yechelis shaleilah brings out in the mashal brings out a deeper koyach or a deeper inyan than the inyan of yechelis lahar brings out. There's different, but in a certain way, you say. There's different, but the Fidigar says when you get to the Baal Shem Tov, the Mashal, I think if Fidigar brings this before the Baal Shem Tov's Gilui, so say the Baal Shem Tov was a nister. It's not only the pshat that he wore a smashed casket and he looked like a prostitute. I think Fidigar says such a lashon. Say a heicha mensch, a yida baruch hakechves, so they put him leicht. The Baal Shem Tov was able to imagine himself that is. His nasus wasn't mayor. He looked like a regular. Say someone has he looks like a prostitute person. He looks like a simple person. He doesn't have any. Doesn't project anything. So he was able to be mailim his eir b'fnim. That his inyanim was in a way that his kedusha wasn't mayor at all. Wasn't nikar at all. Looked like a ish tam. Looked like a. That's a deeper inyan. The Rebbe Shah brings that the teva of something, befrat something which is the teva of someone that has a keich naila or keiches nailim. So the teva of is that they can't be contained. They're not mugbal. They naturally say chachmas adam tar panov. Certain things that mitzad the take if ha'er, they project. They're meir. So the fact that a person could be in a dark ba'if and naila and not to be meir, not to be murgish, that comes from a deeper keich than the inyan of comes from. Comes from the bligvul of the Meir. He's not limited, therefore he's an alifanim. And this is that the makar is in a certain way deeper than not being mugbal. There's him, and that's it. He's beyond bichlal being in a certain nation. He's beyond being. There's just him. The melee doesn't have to be expression. There doesn't have to be any expression. Yeah, it does get to the shine. It just says that's meaning. Since we're saying that there's the the way it's nichla, not the the way it's a mahus of gidul. But the way the air is, and the fact that atzmus b'yicholti lahayir, this atzmus b'yicholti lahayir is b'yichol. This darge, say atzmus, which is b'yichol, it's b'yicholti lahayir. It's an ein sof, which is a makar for or he's Ein Sof B'Tachlis. He's Ein Sof B'Tachlis, so the same way he's Ein Sof B'Tachlis, and therefore he's not limited that there can't be Yecholti L'Hoyer, is also he's Ein Sof B'Tachlis, and maybe he's not limited to have Gili. Yecholti Shalei L'Hoyer. His Yechel is not limited at all. If there's a mile, it's Yechel Shalei L'Hoyer. Here he says, "Let samtzim gilei she'yer rak b'gol v'tachlis." So what does he say over here? Just the words. The fact that the air is yer rak b'gol v'tachlis, that stems from the fact since the air is mush in the dargi v'chelis, and b'yechelis ha'atzmos, you also have the yechelis of tzimtzum gilei. So that the air should be in a eifin mit tzimtzum. That's mitzad yechelis ha'atzmos. It's not in of Yerida. Kedua, they call Ervi Gila Yesha, she Samson V'Yakbol, Samson V'Amshachas. Ki me'ain, she Nimshach Ervi Gila, Misham Nimshach HaKeach, Lot Samson Lag. The Batzmusi is Bari, Chu B'Pchinas Keach, V'Yechel. The same way with Shem, she B'Yecholti L'Hoyer. Yeah, in other words, we're not dealing with the Etzim, it's not a Metzias of Helen. A Metzias of Gvul, like it's not a Metzias of Gila. We're dealing with Atzmus, because Atzmus is B'Pchinas Keach, V'Yechelis. Shem she B'Yecholti L'Hoyer. Punkt Azevi mitzad the head rak bol of atzos b'yecholti lahoyer, like I said before, kach b'yecholti shalei lahoyer. Commissioners Barley, he's not mugder in air. B'yecholti shalei lahoyer means that it's not. Also the midas agvoret. Punkt Azevi the in agilui is not that atzmos is a shaycher to the musik of gilui, but b'yecholti lahoyer. Al deras having to get b'yecholti shalei lahoyer means inside the atzos b'yecholti there shouldn't be air. The kach b'yecholti lahalim, same way b'yecholti b'chlal shalei yer b'yecholti. In other words, that the etzim should be an eifin, that it shouldn't be meir at all. Klep b'chutz, his inyanim should be nishar ba'atzmai in the etzim, not meir, not an eifin of The kach b'yecholti lahalim chinas v'agili sheyuchol ba'atzmusay. Nochein, there's the that l'chadchila there shouldn't be shalei yer. Kach b'yecholti is that the Gili sheyuchol b'atzmos. That the Gili shouldn't be in an eifin of Gili. Should be in an eifin of this. Not only b'yecholti that zol zayin der etzim, but that the Gili zol zayin in an eifin that yuchol b'atzmos. That's not chein. Rarely ill the fam ha'er nichol b'mark melodi is in Hemshech Kippurim. Yes, he's machalik in two inanim. There's the Chodesh shalei lahayre. He's beyond the whole idea of Gili, and then there's b'yecholti that the Gili should be yuchol b'atzmos. K'meikim b'yecholti l'tzamtzim ul hagbul kol gili. To be magbul gili. It says the cause in that. He says in a four. K'meikim b'yecholti. It's not four separate things, but this is. Yeah.
So there's Yechelis L'Hoyer, Yechelis Shalei L'Hoyer.
Within Yechelis Shalei L'Hoyer, he brings kama pratim. Yeah.
How many things are there?
Within Yechelis Shalei L'Hoyer, he speaks kama pratim. Yeah. Let's see. He touches it. Didn't call in Echelis in Pchinas Keach. Atis is Shemaim V'Saras B'Kecha Chagodol. The Pirush Keach B'Atzmus is Baruch in Echelis means it's not a Keach Prati. It's the Echelis Hayes, the fact that the Etzim is not Mugder, not a Keach Prati. Shem Shayechelis L'Hoyer B'Chinas Ein Sof. Nikra Kecha Chagodol means that's Kecha Chagodol. It should be Meir Nefin of Ein Sof. Making Echelis Let Samtzum Meir Vaziv. Shu Ein Sof Mamish. Shia gid rak b'chinas kav umid heibach mohus as if shu insof. The keach chelis gvur zu nikar gamke b'keach hagod. Punkt is when we get to the air. The fact that there should be enough insof is dafke b'keach hagod means dafke b'chelis ha'atzmos. There should be air which is b'chinas insof. The vrayim are gvul. There should be an air which is insof is dafke b'chelis ha'atzmos which is insof mamish. Al derech zeh that the letzamtzim ha'er va'aziv shu insof mamish. That it should be an eifin of kav midah. Means it should be made in a way shalek fi mohose. That the air should be made meir b'gvul. The same way that air is air mein amor. It should be an air in stuff as dafke mitzad yechelis ha'atzmos lahoyer. Mitzad gilu mitzad atzmei there's only in stuff. The fact that you have an air which is b'chinas sev is dafke mitzad atzmei. Al derech zeh the fact that you could have an air in stuff which is meir b'gvul, behusa air is ein sof. But after it became the air is meir b'gvul, so that's dafke mitzad yechelis ha'atzmos. Because the inyan of gvul vehelim shel hamayla is also not mugbal. Is ein sof betachlis. Keach hazgurzen gam keach hagadol. But Adar, that's also inyan of a keach built in mugbal. Then he adds, "V'adar bezo ikar b'chinas hakeach v'gvur lahalim laster." That's even a deeper keach. Lahalim laster means gila in a certain way is natural. A natural expression of Ein Sof is that he's not mugbal, but that is Ein Sof, and after the case of Zayin B'Gvul, that shows that he's not that he's not defined. That he's not defined in the inyan of Bli Gvul either. There's a certain expression of pshitis that's expressed after the inyan of Gvura and the inyan of Helim over the inyan of Gila. Because the inyan of Gila is kaviyochel natural to being Bli Gvul. And Ein Sof is Meir. If you're pshitis, you're Meir b'tachas. But they should be Meir b'Gvul. Shemeir and Esther, there should be Chachma, should be Chesed, and there can Zecher Elokus. That's a deeper Kayach. That shows that he's not defined in a certain definition at all.
That's not part of Pshitas also?
Well, last time, if it would be Pshitas, it wouldn't be a gather of Esther. He says the Eir is Ein Sof. That even though the Eir is Ein Sof, he should be Meir and only in Eifin of Kavo Mida and given us in a Smokim to Gvul, Heipach Mahusay, that's Dafke. That's dafke also mitzad atzmus can sein as a. The other of the ikr b'chinas hakeach v'gur lahalim laster. The way he says here, he can be Meir in a way that the bleak vol of the Eir is not Meir b'Gali. The Eir be'etzem Husa is bleak vol, but it can be Meir in a way that the Muhusa inyan is not Meir b'Gali. And that's daf keich echelis gvura the gvura sa'atzmus.
What is Meir then? Like another inyan?
Another inyan. The Muhusa ziv, the ziv is in sof. The poil, the Eir is Meir in a way of gvul, and it's all mitzad the Muhusa Ein Sof is not Meir. Yeah, that's what it doesn't go through the Prat Advarim exactly. How does that you have more in nine base, more of a richis. Exactly how the Eir Gvul works. What's for is it's a chibur of pshitis and gvul, the Eir Gvul. But here you're just saying the etzem inyan. The fact that the Eir, which is be'etzem Muhusa Ein Sof, could be Meir in a way that the Ein Sof Shabbat is not Meir betachlis, is in a certain way a deeper kayach than the inyan of Gili itself. What he's saying is, what I'm saying is, we say that that Eir Gvul is a lower darga. It's a lower darga. It's sad the fact that there's, if there wouldn't have been a mystic of Elam, it's pshitis. Once there's a velt, you say the Mashal Benegeta, saying the Mashal Benegeta Ratzi. That Mitzad Atzmi Ratzin is higher than Seichel Amidus, a deeper place in the Nefesh, beyond Keiches. And with that, when that darga is Meir Kameshu, so there's no Tfizas Makam at all for Seichel Amidus. Then you have a lower eifin of Gilei Ratzin, is where there is Seichel Amidus. And we said to take it for Ratzin, he's poor that the Seichel Amidus should also be Masim La Ratzin. That's a Yerida. And there, it's not Meir that take it for Ratzin Kameshu Hu Mamish. So you say the Mashal, there's Nes Shalamayla Misav Sheteva, Nes and Bluish Sheteva. So there are cloud Nes, which is not Malubish Sheteva, brings out much more the bleak vol of the air, that he's not limited in he's not Meschashiv with the Gvulis of Velt. Mashega Nes and Bluish Sheteva, so he is Meschashiv with Velt. But there's a certain Maila Nes and Bluish Sheteva that he doesn't have to break. It's within but with their cloud, that even though that's a Maila, but that's a Yerida. Why is that a Maila? When Velt is a Metzias, if Velt is an Inyan, then there's a Maila that you're not negating it, you're Melubish V'teicha. Huh? Why is it a Maila? Who brings Charis the Blik Vol there? More when you're Bechlana Mischashiv with Gidra Teva. Mashik, when you are Mischashiv Gidra Teva, but it's a Nes Melubish V'teicha, however the Hezbollah is, at the end of the day, the aspect of Nes, which is regardless of the Blik Vol level, it's not Meir B'teicha. Because you're something Mischashiv with the system. But here he's saying that once you have a system, there's a certain mile in that Indian also. The way the Rebbe is saying here, the fact that the air is babik vol, that's an expression of the fact that the air, that's Yechelis Atzmas. The fact the air which is Mhusa Ein Sof is not mugdar, is not defined that this Ein Sof should be in a form of Ein Sof. This Ein Sof, which is Tachlis Ein Sof, is never Gvul, but could also come to a form of Gvul, that's inside Yechelis Atzmas. The Eir HaGvul brings out the aspect that the Eir is mushish in the Yechelis Atzmos. And it's at the Yechelis Atzmos, he's not limited in the form of Ein Sof. He's not limited in any form. So mitzad the Shlilas Kol HaTorah, mitzad the Heder Agdara of Atzmos, the Eir could also be B'Gvul. So the Eir HaGvul is from a certain aspect brings out a deeper inyan the Eir HaBlikvul expresses. Because the Eir HaBlikvul itself just expresses the fact that the Eibush is Blikvul, Eir Mein Amar. But the fact that the Eir is mitzad Yecholti Lahayr, and this Yecholti Lahayr is Yechol Shalei Lahayr, that is not defined to be dafka in a way of Gilui. There's just him himself, the etzem which is higher than Gilui, that's expressed in the Yechol Shalei Lahayr, in the Eir HaKav. You heard the minion. Chilas Samtzum Erev Azib Shu Ein Sof Mamish. She'gid Rak B'chinas Kav Amida. Heipech Muhus Azib Shu Ein Sof. So Yikeich Chilas Gbur Zun Kigam Kim Kechach Agdol. But Adar I, so Yikriv B'chinas Keich Gbur Lahalam Laster. Means so where is expressed the Heder Agdor of Elokus? In a certain way, the Heder Agdor of Elokus is expressed deeper in the fact that the Eir Kenim Shach Gvarim B'Gvul. We'll see the Hemshech. Kumekel et Samsum lahagbol kol b'chinas gileir. V'zeu inin sheir shagvuris b'mkeiran l'mayla me'achsad. B'chinas gileir zau kom b'chinas achesed. Means that's kavayochel natural. It's not mitzad the etzem. That's mitzad the kavayochel. That's masim at the metzias of likvul. Something which is a keich naila b'tivei is nimshach. B'tivei is meir. Lis ma'im yerdem akim ve'el enoch. Av'chinas is talkos er b'mar. That the earth shouldn't be meir. So mitzad teva advarim, so to speak, mitzad the nature of things, it should be in a way that that's nimshach begilu. The fact that the Indian could be nichla in the Meir, or b'chinas gvuris, or b'chinas eskal zui ili niflamayit. That shows that the etzem is higher than mitzias, higher than any definition at all. And the meila, even though the etzem is blikvul, it's nishur ba'atzmei. It doesn't have to have any expression. And this is called as ili niflamayit. He speaks to a fan the etzim inyan of his stalkos erbamar, the etzim inyan of tzimtzum. The etzim inyan of tzimtzum is a skalus is ili niflamayit. The fact that the Erkevin Skal Bamar is Eli Niflamayid, and the fact that the Ersh Benimshach in a way of Gvul is also in of Gvul, Tikber Sachais, Kiadam Wa Nefesh. It brings Kama Pratim. We have the Indian of the Kechacha Godel, the Ein Sof, the way since God in the air. Then you have a certain Kech, a certain Hedrag Bola, a certain, you say, Tekef of Alakus, Kechacha Godel, Ein Sof Alakus, which is expressed in the fact that the Erkevin Nichal Bamar. That even though there's heirs, darf nicht stehen bei Galus. B'nichal b'mar. And that the Eir can be nichal in a way of gvul. That's from a deeper in of blikvul. He's not mugder to be dafka in a way of blikvul. You say in a certain way, it's an expression of the shlilas kol HaTorah of Atzmos. The Eibush himself is beyond blikvul. He said before. He's beyond saying about him. He's shlilas hagvul or shlilas hablikvul. You can't say about him that he's beyond. And you can't say about him that he's limited. There's only him, the way he wants. That's expressed. The Ermitz Adatzmi brings out the pshitas of Elokus, the blikvul of Elokus. But what brings out that he's not limited to be blikvul? He's not defined by Ein Sof. There's only him. That's expressed in the fact that if he wants, the Er could be behelim. Or b'chlaz after shmeir zanir. The Er is nichal batzmuseh. The fact that the Er is nirgash, that the Eibush is not mugder to be that in a way, in this expression of Ein Sof. He's beyond any expression. The fact that he's beyond any expression, that's expressed in the fact that the air could be bis almas. And not only, then it's another point. The air could be, that's his alma. The air could be an eifin of his almas means that the air is nirgash, that the Eibush is beyond gilui. There's another thing, that the gilui could be in a way that's b'gvul. It's nesim makom tamitzias. That's he's shlilas b'gvul. He's not mugder to be in a state of b'gvul. If he wants, he could yegvit his makom tavel. So that's kechacha gadol. The fact that the air which is b'mchusa Ein Sof can be in a way of gvul, that brings out the Heder Agdor of the market. Versteht ihr mit ihm? saying is, this is, let's see the way it attaches here. Look at the first couple of lines. This is, says, Alpiza Yuvin Masha Amru, Erin Sof, Lamala Din Kes Lamata Din Tachas. The Shaila was, the Chorei moving, Mashayach Ma'ala Mata Erin Sof. That's the Pshat, there's enough Chesed, the Gvor in Erin Sof, there's Tzir in Erin Sof is Pshitis. Gam Me'achar Shu Ma'ala Din Kes Lamata Adar I, Leish Ma'ala Mata. How do they know this is Erin Sof, Leis Asar Ponim Menechul, which is Bar Leil Vayelech. He has the Kasha there. In other words, Pashas, you say, Ma'ala Mata means, there's Tzir, there's Metzias. There's Ruchnis, there's Gashmis, there's Maila, there's Mata. Ruchnis and Gashmis are both two different modes of Metzias. Eldin and Tachten. So the Eibish's Pshitis B'tach, Pash B'tach Asa Pshitis, V'shayach to say Maila, Mata, Nerin Sof. Or Elam, I going to say, Elamus is Ayla Mata, and he's everywhere. So he's everywhere as B'shavet. What's the, so how is it? Fianal Yuvan. What does it touch the Fianal? Maila Mata doesn't mean that there is, you say, Ruchnis and Gashmis. Maila Mata is that there's two Eifanim how the Ein Sof expresses itself. Eibush has Ein Sof. There's two modes how the Ein Sof expresses itself. In a kav of Gilui and a kav of Helim. So the way we understand it till now, Maila Mata is Gvul. Maila Mata is Tzir. Is Ruchnis and Gashmis. It's, you say, Metzias in this type of way, or Metzias in that type of way. That's not Shaykh and itself. That's Gvul. That's Tzir. We're saying is that this when we'll see by Hemshech, the fact that there's two modes, two tnuas in Ein Sof. Mitzad Echad the air is begili ad Ein Sof. There's in a gili which is in the air. He's mizgala and meir. Mitzad the fact that the air is blig vol, so there's no limit, and it's meir in nimtzu b'kol makim. That's the blig vol of the air. Ein Sof lamata den ketz. Leidach, since the air is the sherish air, is in the dark of Yecheles, which this Yecheles is also Yochash Leila Har, the Atzmas B'Chodesh Leila Har. So you have the truth that the air is beyond Gili. It's higher than Gili. The Inin Ahelim which is in there.
Shleila Hayar the same as Helam?
Huh?
Shleila Hayar is the same as Helam, or it's different?
In of Helim. We're going to see. All the Pratim are expressed in there. I'm thinking in a certain way, if you just say, let's start front of me, you're thinking, we want to bring out that it's not just Pshittis, it's beyond Pshittis. It's beyond the regular musik of Pshittis. The air has two opposite tnuas, which is because the air is mushish b'atzmusay. And since that tzmusay is not defined, he has two opposites. He's if yochel lahoyer, but he's not limited. He's not shayches to the tzir. Mitzad atzmei is mufshit from air. So since in atzmusay there's these two kavim hafchim, so that is in the air you have these two kavim hafchim. If you just see later upon him, you see one tnu, the air is pshittis. We want to mean that the air is not limited to the ntzias of pshittis. It's the ultimate blikul, the ultimate Ein Sof. It's a result of the fact that let's see the way he touches the race. It says L'fian al Yuvan Zeo ma sheyesh ba'atzmos hayechedes lahoyer er sheyeh b'chinas Ein Sof. He says mitzad the fact that atzmos is Ein Sof. Atzmos is not mugdar. So this yochel lahoyer er sheyeh b'chinas Ein Sof. And leidach this same atzmos is he's kel yochel. The Eibush is kel yochel. So if he's kel yochel the same way mitzad kel yochel is yochel lahoyer er. He's Yochel Shalei Laher, beyond Gili. And the Gavim Gili is not a mile altogether. He's beyond the whole idea of Gili. And since the Eir is to express Atzmos, so an Eir also not Mizen Asa Be'er Be'ez Yinyana. B'chinas Eir Va'Gili, which is Amash Ein Sof L'Spashtusi. Va'Be'ez B'chinas Aliyah V'Eskalos. She's Alam Eir B'Atzmos. V'Eir Kol B'Mer. Two Tnuas in the Eir. The Inin Agili which is in there, that's mitzvah the fact that Atzmos is b'yicholti lahoyer, and but Atzmos is not. What's going to express that Atzmos is beyond b'yicholti lahoyer? Not because he's mugder, because he's kol yachol. So b'meila he's also the an opposite tnu of it. You say if b'makar lamati you say the fact that b'yicholti lahoyer is because er is an Indian the gaviyim. L'mayla not because er is because he's kol yachol. He's kol yachol, so he's not mugder anything. He's neis hakol. There could be and there could be and the same atzmos b'yicholti laher is b'yicholti shalei laher, and this is reflected in air too. That there's the Indian agili which is in there, and there's the fact that the air has the tnu of Helen. She's Alan. והבייס בחינת העלייה והסקלוס, שיסעל מאיר בעצמוס ובאר כל הבמר. See, that is. בכלל זה הוא גם כן מבחינת הצמצום והגבולה. שאלה בלי גבול יהיה מבחינת גבול המידה. Where's that neveh from? From the החייל של אלעזר. So the air gvul midah is not a yerida. That's an expression of the fact that the air also contains within it the fact that atzis v'yachote shaleilah. Says, look at what he says. B'zel l'mayla ad l'mata chulu. The ein akavani in mayla mata doesn't mean that an ein sof. There's a ruchnis and gashmis. There's chveis meichen amidis. He's ein sof, but this ein sof could be behelam, it could be begillah. Chinsa helam v'gillish ba'er. That's the mayla mata. Means the air is not, this air which is Ein Sof is not mugwal to be in one kav. It can be begillah, it can be behelam. That's the way it attaches to it.
And Shalei Lahayer is the category of Gillah.
Yeah, that it could be that the air could be in a state of aliyah v'eskalus. But I'm saying this brings out a mile in the air. Without this word of air and malachas mata in tachlis, so the air is only expresses the aspect of gili, which is in the market, or the aspect of ein seif, which is in the market, the metzias of ein seif, which is in the market. But that the market is beyond any definition at all, beyond gili, and beyond the metzias of bligvol, that wouldn't be expressed of the air. The mind of the matter brings out that there's opposite tchunas in the air. There's a tnuas agila in the air and a tnuas helim in the air. Where does that come from? That in the air there's hepich tnuas air, an opposite tnu of helim, because the air reflects atzmos. And an atzmos is kol yachol. He's yachol leher and yachol shalei and yachol fakert. Saying we're dealing with pshittis, we're not doing ma'ila mat in a way of tzir, but you say the ultimate pshittis is that he has these two opposite tchunas. The mitzad the heder agbal of the air, he's not limited to be in a certain way. He's bligvol, and it can be bigili. Leidach, he's not mugbal to be in a tzir of to be dafkin. There's him.
From this,
Saying the him is him without gili means that he's kaviyachol removed. And gili without him is that he doesn't have the ultimate removedness. You're saying he's removed, and at the same time he's kel yachol. So he's ein sof. So he's not he's kel yachol. Kel yachol means that he's ultimately removed, and he's ultimately everywhere. And both of these in Yadam together.
from the Erva Gila, you wouldn't see that he has also the ability to be Bali of scholars?
No, he's begili. It means that he's bligvol. That would only express a mode of bligvol. A metzias of bligvol. Not that he's removed from any idea and definition at all. Not that he's removed from a mode of bligvol either. That wouldn't. Without the gili would express that it's one that is unlimited.
It's a special type of Gila, saying it's a type of Gila.
Partial.
It's part of the Chilas, right?
But not the Hachodesh shaleilah. That's expressed the fact that in the air you have beyond the air. Dazakta.
I'm saying if it's the Avish is Mizgal because of the Chilas, that's because he's Kol Yachol, then automatically I would know he can be Mizgal. He could also not be Mizgal.
But how is it begillah? How does the air b'mitzias reflect the fact that it's mishash and kol yachol? That you have opposite tnuas in the air.
This Gila is a Gila.
He's explaining.
It's not his Kol Yachol.
Yeah. That's what he's saying.
So now that I know he's Kol Yachol, I would know that he could be Behel and Behel.
I don't know what you mean now that you mean.
He's Mizgalus, and this is Galus. It's this Galus that he's Kol Yachol, right? He's able to be Begili because he's Kol Yachol.
Say that.
So now I know that David is Kol Yachol. So I don't need this fact that he can be Mizgalus. I already know he's Kol Yachol. Like, the part of being Behel isn't being Mizgalus that he's Kol Yachol. I already had that Gil of Kol Yachol from this. I already had this Kol Yachol part already.
Verstehen, was du sagst. If there wouldn't be the tnuas hagvul in the air,
Realizing that David is
Which Helen? Tzimtzum.
And the fact is,
But he says here, he says kama pratim l'shalei lahar. There's kama pratim. There's the fact that the air should be l'chadchila no air. There's the fact that the air could be in a tnu of eskalus. There's kama pratim l'chadchila lahar that he explains before. You're saying what's the different pratim? He explains kama pratim. He says
what are we adding to this escalas?
there's kama pratim in the Hachodesh lahar. He says before kama pratim.
You're saying it's ikar gilui of keachach ha'gadol, right? Why?
You're saying what he says before. What he says here is a general point that the fact that air has these opposite mode, or I'm saying opposite, he doesn't say the fact that there's two efanim in the air. Not that there's two forms of mitzias, but the air is there's the inyan of gilui in the air, and there's the inyan of helim in the air. This ain't sof. Could be in a efin of gilui and a efin of helim. That's neveim. It's the fact that there's two inyan. It's a bit prati. He says he says kama inyanim. He says a base b'chinas aliv eskalus. Shisal meir batzmusay. Ubechlal zog gam b'chinas atzimtzum v'agbolish. Rablik v'yiv b'chinas bulamid. Earlier, he's mechalik it a little bit. There's the gvor of the waist in his button, tikberes achayis. Okay, there's kama prat. He doesn't go into every prat, but every prat brings out another aspect to the inyan. The aspect of tzimtzum brings out one inyan, but the fact that the air could be in a ifnuk vulamida brings another inyan. He doesn't go through every single detail. What's the Whereas he's saying, but even Koli is Erin Samadikas Mata and Tachlis is that there's two tnuas in there. There's in a gila in the air, and then there's the tnu of Helim in the air. The air could be in a state of Helim. And that state of Helim, there's two inyanim. That the air, the whole air could be Behelim, this almost, or that it could be the Helim in a way that he's able to be Meir B'Gvul. That's the two Efanim that the Helim expresses itself in the air. Vanat Shtamtis in general, these two tnuas in there, the inyan of Gilui and the inyan of Helim, that's Mitzad Yechelus Atzmus. Since the air is mush in the air that called Atzmus Samar Mamish is the air the way it is in the B'china V'Yechelis, and the B'china V'Yechelis, the fact that Atzmus Yechel Lahar, the same Yechelis is Yachal Shalei Lahar, and that's reflected in the air. This Yechelis Shalei Lahar is reflected in the air. How is it reflected in the air? That in the air there's two tnuas. There's the Inyan HaGila and the Inyan of Helam. So I'm saying the Pasha sir. Azay Mailomata means tzir. Say Chves Ruchnis and Gashmis or Meichan Amidis. Here you're saying we're dealing with the Mahusa Pshitis, but there's two Efanim in this Mahus. This Mahus could be an Efan of Gilui, which is also an Evea from Bligvol, or an Efan of Helim, which is also a Tnu of Bligvol. It's all Tnuas in Bligvol. Gilui is an expression of Bligvol, and Helim is in a way also an expression of something which is not defined at all, but in two opposite kavim. And the fact that the air has these two tnuas, that's because the air is mushish nichelis atzmus.
The question is from before.
Okay, there's kind of pratim. Doesn't go into every single prat here. Atzis akelu b'chinas yichelis, chot elei b'chodesh leir. Mizeu ba'er b'chinas agile v'yispashta shaleir. And then there's b'chinas hahelim these kol b'mer, the tnu of gili v'yispashtus. And then there is that is beyond, that is not limited to be in a state of yispashtus. Can stehen in sich, be in a state of helim. That's misad yichelis shaleir. So there called b'chinas keach ha-bligvol, b'chinas keach ha-gvol. B'chinas ha-gili nimshach sheyeh b'chinas ein sof dafke. The bligvol. That's mitzad the tnu of gili. So mitzad the gili elokut. So the gili ein sof. The male is b'chinas ein sof. And b'chinas ha-helim was sheyeh b'chinas gvol v'tzimtzum. Mitzad helim, so then there could be a tnu of gvol. His ein sof is boy. And the pearl could be an eifin of gvol v'tzimtzum. Begilui. B'chinas hagilui b'chinas keich ha-bligvol. The b'chol makim begilui b'chinas insof l'yispashtus to say. B'chinas elam b'chinas keich ha-gvol. Shtei hamshach b'chinas gvol u'midah tafke. Mitzad helim, so his inyanim are in him. They don't have to be expressed. And it could be in eifin of gvol. It could be in a state of helim. kann ich dann gehen bis weiter. So, bis am Jiges, wir make a Hemshech. We're getting so weiter. So, bis am Jiges in stuff. So now we have a new biur. These are business shares where it's saying before. Commercial kedem al yisaratzen, shuv khines ein sof a heine should choti lahav es firis erdin kets. And that's misad the Indian Agili Shaber, because it said the Indian Agili is the Indian of Ein Sof. Means that the Pshita should be mayor and present. And Pchinas al Yisaratzen should Pchinas Hachodesh al Eses Firis. Zo Pchinas Kecha Bligvol. These two are Pchinas Kecha Bligvol, Pchinas Kecha Gvol should be Ein Sof. Kecha Gvol is that his Ein Sof should be bis almos, and the mayor can be in a Eifin of Gvol. זהו גם כן יביז מן המשור השחר הצמצום שזהו המשור is בחינת סייב כלם והמשור is בחינת מעל כלם. All there's this is. So save is a tnu of gilui, and mal kalaman is that the Ein Sof could be in a even that it's not meir begoli, in a state of helim, ba'atzmei. Zeh habe ich mir nachher sind bin am Schluss von sehr klar, Schluss von mal klar, in heine von mal sind wir schon nachher at Simpson. Komm kommen wir blick vor, schau, ich habe schon glum. This is the difference between save and mal. Yeah. But schau, dass wir können gleich blick vor werden so. Heine okay, mal ist das. Der Edis of Atzmei who mocker können save. Means well, wir können gehen der Erhol. Und das ist ganz nachher sind können blick vor. Huli is like from the same market. I'm sure it's from the same market. I'm going to get a gvol. Zeh ma sheyesh bein sof sheyesh the spheres chulu. Zeh isim sheyesh we're going to gvolum mido.
Well, why does Helen bring gvul?
Hela means that his pshit his Ein Sof is in him. It's not present b'murgish. His mahos, his pshit his Ein Sof doesn't have to be begilui. It's ba'atzmei. It's boy, and it could be in a way that his greatness, so to speak, is in him. It's not meir begoli. That's Hachodesh leilahar. His inyanim are nishar ba'atzmei, and begilui it's not murgish. He doesn't have to be in a way that he has to express himself. It doesn't have to be in a mode of he could be in a way that all his inyanim are ba'atzmei. It doesn't have to be in a way of expressing himself.
Isn't that itself an expression of his greatness?
Yeah, everything is an expression of the Eibishter's greatness. Versteht sich.
It's both kav and shad, right?
Yeah, everything is expressed the Eibishter's greatness. Versteht sich. I'm saying, of course, that's what he says. B'kechacha gadol. We're talking with Yechedes Atzmos. We're not speaking about the Eibishter's Nesachal. There could be anything. We're not discussing now that the Eibishter could make anything. We're talking about that different forms of a yachas of a mocker. The Eibishter has no. He's kel yachol in what type of mode he's in. He's kel yachol. Same way, there's a mile in a mocker to be begilui, and there's an opposite mile of a mocker that his inyanim don't have to be open. Don't have to be open. They're in him. They're his own personal qualities, and he has no need to express them, or they're beyond expression. That's also a mile. And the Eibishter's Kol Yachol, he has both of these miles in a way of blikvol, in the most ultimate form. You have a mile in a makar to be begili, and you have a mile of a makar that it doesn't have to be begili. He can give space for something else. There's different miles of helam. I'm saying miles. It brings out a certain dafka on atzmi doesn't have to be begili. And there's different miles of this idea of helam. And the Eibishter's Kol Yachol, so what is the Eibishter's Kol Yachol? He could be in any mode. And in each mode, betachlis. So he has the Inna Gili betachlis, Gili Ein Sof betachlis, and he has the Inna Helam betachlis. And both of these tnuas are expressed lepel mamish in the air. That the air could be begvol, the air mesadatz is Ein Sof, but leidach it's not limited to be in a way of Ein Sof. It's kanzan begvol. Of course, it brings some miles. Meretach like that. The Eibishter's Nesachal, there could be anything from the Eibishter. We're not discussing that, what could be from him, what he could create. We're dealing with milas that we see in the attitude of a mucker, to how a mucker or how an elyon is misyachas, how is he meir. And within that, there's different qualities in general. There's two general qualities: the quality of gili and the quality of helam. And by the Eibishter's Atzmus is biyacholti, is mitzad the fact that Kol Yachol, he has all these ifanim, and in the ultimate perfect way. And it's expressed in there.
The question is Helen's idea that he's not somewhere.
Why are you saying that he's not somewhere?
I'm asking.
No, Helen Gipshute.
He's there, but it's not his gal.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be present. Doesn't have to be.
Gvul is the idea that he's not there.
Yes, the Pashas he says. Oh, he said B'chinas Helen. So his Ein Sof, his greatness, doesn't have to be felt. Doesn't have to be open. It's in him. To give space for something else. Yeah, there's different pratim.
Space for something else.
You want to know exactly there's thousands of Yurim.
How does Gvul come from Helen?
I'm just trying to explain to you because his Ein Sof is not open. It's not demonstrative. It's ba'atzmei. You give space for someone else. The godless hamashpia is not Meir Begoli. How can a mashpia be mashpia self al? Because if someone is limited, that is everything that he knows has to be Begoli, he can't give space for someone else. That is in Yana can be ba'atzmei. He doesn't have this tchuna that everything has to be bispar. It's begili. Saying the pashtus. I'm saying there's many biurim in every prat. Good, met mamshel zayin. Here he's going back to the shalom beginning of the Maimer. But he get to give the Helam Minishmayim. After this whole thing. Okay, we'll continue this.